Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.8 Matsuribayashi. Last episode was a fucking week ago, but sorry about the long wait again. But we completed more fragments, and I misplaced my clipboard. Cool. Okay, there it is. Where's the pen? Oh, don't fucking tell me I lost the pen again. We're getting a different pen. We completed more fragments. I believe everything written in blue. So we did Mion Sonozaki, a murder with a dismembered body, the second sacrifice, suffering of a big brother, and the first sacrifice, because we're doing things out of order, I guess. So yeah. We're done with 14 of them, so math dictates that we have about a number left to go. So yeah, we'll be continuing. And yeah, before we get into this, though, we've got another episode of Sotsu to discuss. I'm sorry to anyone who's watching this after I've already uploaded all of it, because, you know, it's been a week since the last episode. Naturally, that means another episode of Sotsu has aired. So we're going to back out here and pull up the save menu for spoiler time through episode 9 of Sotsu. If you don't want spoilers, then mute. Yeah. Welcome. My throat needs to be cleared a little, but whatever. It's time to talk about episode 9, which was pretty good overall, I would say. Although there was some disappointing aspects. But before we get into the serious stuff, I just want to say that I love the fucking joke they did with Teppei doing Keiichi's whole Iron Chef thingy. Like, when he just starts cooking, he's like, hey, what the fuck's a teaspoon? And he just dumps all the fucking oil in there and just does the same fucking thing Keiichi does. Now this is cooking! I fucking loved it. It was hilarious. So, yeah, it's weird how, like, horror anime or anime that you're supposed to take seriously often have some of the best jokes. It's just weird, but I love it for that. So, thank you, Teppei. You got joke of the year so far. Anyways, now for the serious stuff. I'll admit it's a little disappointing that Satoko injected Ooishi without Ooishi developing any symptoms or going down the road to have them yet. But I'll excuse it, because I guess now, at the very least, we'll be getting the same deal in this arc that we got in Wata Akashi with Mion. So that's cool. Seeing L5 Ooishi fuck around, that's gonna be interesting. So yeah, he's already doing dumb shit, which is lovely. Honestly, I kind of like seeing Ooishi suffer from Hinamizawa suffer. Great word to use. Be affected by Hinamizawa syndrome more than Mion. Like, Mion's was interesting, just because, you know, we've never seen that happen before. But seeing a character outside of the main club deal with it is just it's different, and it, like, makes the story feel bigger. Like, these things could have happened in the original arcs, but it only ever really affected Keiichi, Rena, and Shion in the grand scheme of things. Satoko, of course, too, but, you know, in a different way. So, yeah. I guess this also explains why the arc is 5 episodes. Because, like, the first 2 set everything up. I guess then 3 and 4 is Ooishi on his rampage. And then the 5th one is him on his big boy rampage, where we finally get answers to what exactly happened in the last episode of Tatari Damashi. So, yeah, it's gonna be really cool to see. So otherwise, the only other real thing I can say about how I think this arc will progress is that I still think Teppei's going to get some symptoms of Hinamizawa syndrome, what with how Satoko is drilling into his head that the whole village is against her, and by extension, him. But perhaps him getting Ooishi on their side will negate that. I hope it doesn't, because I still really fucking think that we're going to have, like, L6 Hinamizawa syndrome of some kind. Like, I still really think that the way this arc is going to end, like what happens in the house, is that Ooishi, having been affected by Hinamizawa syndrome before, which regardless of whether it's natural or induced by Satoko, she's going to, he, under the effects of Hinamizawa syndrome, is going to attack Keiichi, and then Satoko in her panic is going to think that it was Teppei, so she's going to use another syringe or something to subdue him. Perhaps she steals a second syringe. I don't know. Does she steal all of the syringes or just one? I can't remember. I think that was gone over in the final episode of Go, but I can't really remember. Regardless, I still think she's going to hallucinate Teppei over Ooishi, inject him again, or do something that makes him leave, and then do the, oh, I'm so itchy, there's all these parasites in my body, and Rika's brains has the cure. I'm gonna go beat the fuck out of her with a baseball bat. And then that would bring us into the answers for what happened in Nekodamashi and why all of them were acting in the exact same way. So, yeah, I still think that that's generally how the arc will end. But I guess it could be something more. We'll probably have a better indication of it next episode. Unless it does, quote-unquote, end next episode and the 5th episode of the arc is, like, more meta shit. Like, if they put Umineko stuff in there now. I don't know. I don't think they'd do it this soon, though. But, yeah. So, my last thing that I want to say, and this is a pretty beefy thing, I wrote a fuck ton. Satoko is a very ironic character, I want to say. Because, back in Mayakashi, Shion almost wouldn't shut up about how Satoko was at fault for everything bad that happened to Satoshi, and that she was manipulating people for her own gain. And now she's actually manipulating people for her own gain. She's still not responsible for what happened to Satoshi, because her loops start in 83, not like 81 or 82, but yeah. Regardless, she's putting on a show in the classroom to make people think she's getting abused, and she's putting on a show at home to make Teppei and Ooishi think that the whole village is fighting her, and she's just flip-flopping between the two. So I really, really think that Shion and also Keiichi, kind of, are going to be a much bigger part of the final arc of this show because of that. I still think at some point Satoko's going to have to, like, face her friends who she's royally fucked over in several different alternate universes and just come to terms with what she did. But, yeah, like... With what Satoko's doing in Tatari Akashi, it kind of feels like Satoko's forgetting Rika in the meantime and is just focusing on torturing people. Like, she's just picking somebody, like, there's not really any real reason for her to live with Teppei and make everyone think that she's, being abused by Teppei. If she's not doing anything else with that time, which she isn't. She's just staging this, which is definitely weird and just makes it seem like she's doing it out of cruelty rather than for any other real reason. Of course, injecting Ooishi probably means, alright, he's gonna kill somebody at some point. Whether or not it's Rika is besides the point. Unless it's literally all just to make it so that, Rika's like, this isn't the perfect world. It's not. So maybe, like, paralleling Minagoroshi and defeating Takano in the meantime would make Rika think, okay, now this timeline that I thought could be perfect before can actually be perfect because Takano's not a factor. Why is Ooishi coming at me with a baseball bat? So, yeah, but regardless, Satoko is being overly cruel to her friends, both physically and emotionally. And like I said, I really think that in the final arc, she's going to have to face them for everything she did for them. And I hope that they don't accept it. I hope they don't accept her apology. I really hope they fucking don't. But regardless, Satoko's more or less lost herself completely. And I think I can say with a straight face now that although her intentions affect a smaller group of people than Takano's did, I think Satoko is way more far gone than Takano ever could have been. Like, I've said this a lot, but, like, I've said a lot that I think Satoko is currently an irredeemable villain, but at this point, I kind of hope that she doesn't get redeemed. Like, if they somehow segue into her and Lambda Delta, but without resolving any of her problems and making her still think she was in the right, I'd kind of be fine with that. I would kind of be a-okay with that. Will it happen? I don't know. But I would be fine with it happening. So yeah, that's all I had to say about this episode. What will happen next episode? I think just more Ooishi bullshit. There's nothing really from Tatari Damashi that I can think of that it could be. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what bullshit he does behind the scenes. And so, back to the game. Welcome back, guys. Time to connect more fragments. I completely forgot what ones I need to actually click on, so let's look through. We do not have this, because we don't have a decision from Irie. We do have his motive, but I do not believe... No, we don't have a cancellation yet. We did... The things we got last episode. Rock candy and a watermelon. The tragedy at the site and death of the manager. Satogo's test results, and a live specimen for research. I have no fucking idea what Suffering of a Big Brother was. And the first sacrifice was an L5 patient dissection. So, what else do we have? We do have L5 patient dissection. We do not have help from the Queen Carrier. Nothing about Rika's family or Satogo's aunt. We don't have that. We don't have that. We do not have that. I don't think we have that, because I already checked that, didn't I? Ooishi has barely shown up. Plus, we don't have the execution order. We don't have the bat, I'm assuming. We don't have that, we don't have that, we don't have that, we don't have that. We do have that, so here we go. Number 15, the old guy. Old! Alright, 15, the old guy. Nice. I don't know what to say. I want to say something, but I can't think of the right words. I can only sigh. Ah, Ooishi-san. I've been looking for you. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster. Be quiet! This is a place of rest. As Kumagai barged into the room, the old coroner quickly snapped back at him. Sorry. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster for the suspect. Can you talk to Komiyama-kun about that? I need to speak to the coroner here. Could you tell him I'll be right over? Okay. Kumagai ran out of the autopsy room with the same haste he entered in. Lively, isn't he? The old man would have slapped him for making such a fuss. You probably should go back too. The air in here isn't for people who aren't used to it. You're right. If I slack off too long, I might get slapped as well. Here in Shishibone, all the hoodlums cross the street when you pass through. Yet he's the only one, past or future, who's ever punched you for splitting your sumo wrong. What's a sumo? Whatever. He really was a merciless man. I think he punched me more than my real father. Doesn't matter if he was your real one or not. If you looked up to him in the same way, then he really was a father to you. Aw. I don't like sad Ooishi. Oh, Ooishi backstory. Oh, fuck. I forgot most of his backstory, so here we go. Ooishi backstory. My real father passed away in Nagoya. He was unlucky. If he wasn't given the order to move to a plant in Nagoya, he wouldn't have died in an air raid. If he could have rode it out another half a year or so, then the war would have been over. I was sad, of course, but I was grown up enough by then that I didn't cry into the ground like my mother did. But people feel sadness in different ways. For some people, it comes all at once as an overwhelming wave, but others feel sadness gradually, over a long period of time. I think I was the latter. When he was alive, I only thought of him as annoying. In my mind, I even cursed him with questions about why he avoided the draft. Yo! Ooishi's father is fucking cool! Are you kidding? Jeez, we got a based Ooishi Senior moment, what the fuck? And I thought my feelings towards him would always be the same. Then the war ended. As I saw families and friends being reunited with joy as they came home from the front, it finally happened. I grieved for my father's death. Japan was filled with people who were sad and full of despair. I knew I wasn't the only one whose life ended up that way. But I remember I was very, very heartbroken. After the war, the nation completely changed. As a policeman, the environment I worked in went through sudden changes too. In order to forget my sorrow, the only thing I could do was devote myself to the work. At the time, I was in charge of busting people for buying rice illegally. Why? I conducted spot checks on travelers at major train stations. And boy, did I find a lot of them. Is rice just slang for a kind of drug? Because if they mean rice, like actual fucking rice, like cilantro lime rice, then, I don't fucking care. Hey you, what are you doing? Oh, I'm stealing rice. Okay, cool, have a good day. There was a fairly big black market in Gogura, and a lot of people came from as far as Osaka to buy it. Okay, then it's gotta fucking be, like, or are they gonna say it was real rice? Did real rice have a black market? Why? After the war, Japan faced a chronic shortage in food supply. To those ends, the nation instituted a food rationing program by signing the Food Control Act. But the rations the government provided weren't even close to being enough to feed families. Therefore, people had no choice other than buying food and supplies on the black market. Okay, well, you're giving it a reason. But then also, who cares? I mean, yeah, rationing, whatever. It just sounds dumb. I busted people for stealing rice, whatever. The government hardly had enough food for rations, but there was somehow plenty on the black market. Did you know you could grow rice? The dealers there sold it at outrageous prices, and some of them became wealthy. The Sonozaki family made their money through that black market, but that's another story. You know what, if you get rich off of selling rice on the black market, you deserve the money. I don't fucking care, go ahead. The government didn't bother arresting these dealers, for with their money, they were able to buy off the top members of the police department. Instead, they decided to go after the people buying the goods, and even confiscated the rice they bought by selling everything they owned. Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't there a prosecutor who starved himself to death? Yeah, there was. The prosecutor who vowed not to eat illegal rice starved to death. Wasn't it in 1947? That was horrible. He, a public prosecutor, proved it himself that people couldn't survive by adhering to the law. Christ. That prosecutor had grown tired of the government charging people with doing whatever they could to survive. And he proclaimed that he was never going to buy black market rice again. In 1947, he starved to death when he was only in his mid-30s. The law prohibited people from buying black market rice, but that was the only way to survive. In that case, was the Food Control Act a bad law itself? It sounds like it. The death of the prosecutor was seen as a desperate message to the government about the unjustness of that law. We rounded up people with bags of rice and lined them up at the temporary inspection point next to the station. It was like a military tribunal. We inspected their bags and confiscated everything that they bought at the black market. The women all cried. They sold everything they owned to buy the rice. They pleaded that if we confiscated the rice, how would they feed their starving children? Doesn't make sense, huh? Yet they forbade you from going after the sellers, so it was absolutely unfair from the view of the people. Everyone was on edge. If they heard a police inspection was set up at the next station, they'd jump off the train and run. We were aware of these people, so we set up several officers near jump-off spots in order to capture them. I remember chasing after women carrying several kilos of rice on them. That was when I first met the old man. Man, I was surprised. Remember my father? He looked exactly like him. I really thought that maybe my father had miraculously survived the air raid in Nagoya. Wait, hold on, do I have to go? I have to scroll up for a while. Where did you say that? Yeah, okay. So he did avoid the draft? But still went to war? Shame. Damn. I was chasing a man who was running away from the inspection point. There was no way for him to run with a heavy bag of rice on him. So either he'd get arrested with the illegal rice, or escape by ditching the rice that he bought by selling all of his belongings. In other words, if a person is being chased by the police, that person can't provide his family any rice to eat. Of course, I felt guilty about that. I knew people had to buy the rice to survive. Why specifically rice? Like, there's other food in the world. I mean, I know rice is a very important food in Japan, but... like, there's meat. Like, do they not have beef there? Chicken? Fruits and vegetables? I don't know. I don't know shit about 1940s Japan other than the United States wanted to fucking dick them down with 2 needless atomic bombs, so that's great. So we had a tacit agreement to let those who ditched the rice and ran get away. So I thought the same thing as I chased them. Please throw it away. I didn't want to catch him, because I didn't want to hear him crying and pleading in distress. It was then that the old man showed up. He looked exactly like my dead father. I was dumbfounded. Then, all of a sudden, he punched me in the head. If a father disciplines you, as a child, you lower your head in apology. Okay, sure. I was so happy to see my father alive that I couldn't hold my joy in. The old man said, "Let him go." When I heard his voice, I realized that he wasn't my father, so I thought I'd arrest him for assaulting a policeman. But a young man like me, who'd barely grown any hairs yet, was no match for an older man used to fighting. Yeah, he sure taught me a lesson. He gave me a good scolding in the middle of the street after I was all beat up. Who would even listen to him, right? But something struck me then. I kept seeing my father in him. All I could do was listen. Yeah, he was a ruffian, but he showed his guts like a real man. That's what made him such a great guy. You don't see men like him nowadays. He was a true example of a man from the good old times. Despite my age, I still needed a father. I needed someone to look up to, and to show me what makes a man a man. And you did the same for Keiichi. I see. When I think about it, I really did have 2 fathers. The old man was a father, a brother, and my best friend. But now, here he lies with his head, body, arms, and legs all dismembered, and his right arm hasn't been found. He taught me how to be a man, how to enjoy alcohol, how to play mahjong, and with that right arm, he gave me a good beating when I did something wrong. But that right arm is still missing. Do you have any suspects? Yeah, of course. I swear, I'll find the old man's right arm and pay them back for what they've done to him. They're running Hinamizawa from the shadows and inciting this collective crime they call the dam protests. The Sonozaki family. I declare war within myself. I already know who my enemy is. Okay, so that's Ooishi's declaration of war. Ooishi declares war. Alright. So that's done. We certainly can't do that one. Nope. No. No. Nope. Well, no. 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 And then all these are the other fragments. Okay. So back to the beginning. So where was his declaration of war? Because that's the only one I can do. Except, what? So there's another one that I can do that I don't know what that I can do. Yeah. I'm thinking this. Did Irie make a decision at all? I'm gonna save. Because if he did, then we're in problem territory. Because I missed that somehow. Fuck! What am I missing? I'm missing something. Okay, so we have Ooishi's declaration of war. So we can't do that. We do not have Urie's decision. We haven't discontinued her dissection plan, but we do have his motive to become a doctor. We haven't had the 3rd year, because they haven't, so this is definitely no. I don't believe we've had help from the Queen Carrier. If we have, then we can do that, but none of that, not that either. No, well, maybe, but also probably no. No, most certainly not. No. I'm pretty sure this is not right, yeah? No, okay. I'm not gonna load yet, I'm gonna keep on checking. So, obviously not, no. I'll just check this one anyways. No. Alright, I'll load now, because I just broke 2. So, I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm missing something. We don't have the bat. And we don't have help from the Queen Carrier. Right? Did I never clicked one of those, so let's try it. No, so we don't have help from the Queen Carrier. Which means we can't do that one or the query. That's so weird. Was there anything else that Ooishi's there could have been? We have the declaration of war, but we don't have the execution order. I'm fairly sure we don't have that, right? That's never happened. No. Most certainly not. We might have Tomatake's promise. But we don't have the wine or the emergency manual. We don't have the priest. We don't have that or that. No, most definitely not. Anything about the Ryugus or the Mayabaras, obviously not, because they haven't shown up. And obviously nothing about the death of the Furude couple either. What is the raw sea urchin? Okay, so what am I thinking here? Maybe? I doubt... I'm thinking this. No. What am I missing? Rika hasn't had a fever. Unless, hold on, help from the Queen Carrier. But we've had the L5 dissection, right? Yeah. So we don't have that. Why is this so hard? Like, I have to logic out fucking everything. This is the only other one I can think of. A roll of a 1? No. What am I missing? I'm only 15 in and I'm lost. Okay, we're gonna look from the beginning again. We're gonna load. Some I already know. I have not done. I've tried. So we know it's not this. This, I think I tried, right? I did try that. No, because I tried it. No, because it hasn't happened. But wait, has it? No, it definitely hasn't. Okay, no. Obviously not, because that would involve that one. And we haven't seen anything about C103 or H107. No. Execution order for the 3rd year's course. No. I don't think I've tried that. No, did I just try it? I can't even remember what I've tried at this point. Ryugu family has not moved. Maybe? No. Only other thing I can think of is fragment of Himatsubushi, fragment of Onikakushi, because they're in order. No. So, how many things have I fucking tried? I have yet to find what I'm supposed to do. I haven't been skipping a page, have I? So, no. Believe I have already tried this. Yeah, so it's not this. I'm just gonna try from beginning to end. No, obviously not. Yeah, fucking figured. But I gotta make absolute sure. We already tried that. We know it's not right. That's total. That has not happened, right? No, yeah, I thought so. I'm doing fucking trial and error. She hasn't died. Okay, knew it. So, nothing on the first page. Literally nothing. We tried that. That involves that, so it's obviously not. No, we haven't had that. I already tried that. I'm pretty sure it's not this, right? No. It's not that. There's not a fragment that I'm overlooking, right? We've tried that. No, correct? Right, no. No. Maybe? No. There's so fucking many. I tried that. I remember that. It's not this. No. Rena hasn't shown up. So it couldn't be. Have they met? No, but that's the 4th year. So that wouldn't be right, but has it been mentioned in one? So maybe? No. Maybe? No. So it hasn't even been mentioned. That would involve this, and that would involve the red capsule. No, didn't think so. Maybe, hold on. Have I set up the game board of Tatari Goroshi or something? No. Just in case, I'm gonna click on all of them that say the game board must be set up. I already clicked on Onikakushi and Himatsubushi. Yeah, so how many fucking things have I tried? So it's nothing on the first page. Just to make absolute sure, I'm literally going through fucking everything regardless. So, yeah, nothing on the first page. Not a thing. Done these two. I've done these two. It's not Shirakawa Park. It's not Yagauchi. It's not that one. Requesting it. What? Why is this one I can do? What? Oh. I know why now. Hold on, which one was it? Requesting assistance from a queen. But the research hasn't stagnated. And they haven't given the kidnapping operation. Was the kidnapping operation in a dam construction operation withdrawal? Well, regardless, we have stagnated research. Apparently. And kidnapping. Swear to God we don't, but whatever. 16, requesting assistance from a queen. That very night, the head of the Furude family, the priest, gathered his wife and Rika together for a family meeting. In Hinamizawa, it was tradition for the three families to gather and discuss the village's issues. So it was hardly unusual for big families like the Sonozaki family and the Kimiyoshi family to have meetings beforehand to sort out opinions among themselves. However, the Furude family had lost its branch families, so there were only 3 of them left. So until that day, they had never had a family meeting at all. What is it? You're being so formal. Is it about the dam construction? The dam was the most important issue in the village at the moment. The wife naturally assumed the priest wanted to talk about the dam. For him to gather all of them together like that, it must be a huge decision he had to make. Perhaps he was going to talk about joining the pro-evacuation camp. No, it's not about the dam, but it's about something extremely important which concerns this village, and perhaps all of the ancestors of the villagers too. The Furude family had served in the priesthood of Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity of the village, for generations. So for him, the head of the family, to start out that way, it must be something extremely important. Yet he said it wasn't about the dam, so what could he want to talk about? I married into this family, so I want you and Rika, who carry the true blood of the Furude family, to listen very carefully. You two aren't normal human beings.
I'm the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, right?
Rika, you shouldn't say such things. Dear, let's talk about things like that without her. She's heard enough nonsense from the elderly people at the village hall already. What she just said, about her being the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, that appears to be true. What? It's a rather long story. Please, just sit tight and listen to me. The wife had a dumbfounded expression on her face, not knowing what he was going to say, but Rika was completely relaxed, wearing her usual carefree expression. The priest started to talk after his wife calmed down. There is a disease in this village that has been here for many years. It's a special disease which only exists here in this area. Everyone who lives in this village has the disease. Not only the people who live here now, but all the people who ever lived here had the disease. What? But we're all perfectly healthy. I've never heard of a disease exclusive to this village. Calm down. As long as we are here in the village, the disease won't cause any problems. But once you move away from this village, that's when it starts to act out. Do you understand? How can you expect me to understand such a thing? I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's the same as the curse of Oyashiro-sama.
Rika said it so calmly while her mother became frustrated. That's right. They say that when you leave this village, you're cursed. It's just like that. In other words, the curse of Oyashiro-sama, which our ancestors have feared for generations, is actually a disease that only exists in this village. How could that be possible? We've left the village before. Other villagers too. Some have gone on business trips, and some even traveled to foreign countries. True, but that's probably because the disease is weakened over a long time. So it was going to disappear eventually. But the business with the dam disrupted that process. Everyone knew that during the dam war, the entire village was aflame with agitation. Such excitement and emotional instability makes the disease stronger. I still don't know what you're trying to say. What we thought was a curse all this time was actually caused by the disease? That's right. All the rules Oyashiro-sama came up with were to protect the villagers from the disease. No way! Then Oyashiro-sama's actually a disease? Not a god? How could that be? How can I explain that to the Furude family ancestors? Calm down. The faith in Oyashiro-sama won't change. The fact that Oyashiro-sama is watching over Hinamizawa will remain the same. It just means the disease producing Oyashiro-sama's curse was in this village since long ago. That's all. I won't accept that! How can I explain that to our ancestors? You already said that. This is a desecration of the Furude family's age-old traditions. No, this is a desecration of Oyashiro-sama! Who told you such a thing? This isn't acceptable! In the first place, can you prove such a disease actually exists? I can. What kind of proof? Who gave it to you? The people from the Ministry of Health and the National Institute of Infectious Disease Prevention. They've already found the pathogen, and they are searching for a cure right now. I saw the documents and the samples last week. The people at the Ministry of Health call it Hinamizawa syndrome. No way. As long as you lead a normal life, the syndrome is harmless. But once you go far from Hinamizawa, or if you become emotionally unstable, it's easy for the disease to manifest itself. When the disease acts out, you can be possessed by your own delusions, and in the worst case scenario, you can go mad. They recovered this disease during the war. A distinguished scholar noticed that only the soldiers from Hinamizawa came down with an abnormal disease, and he has been researching it all these years. They explained some details of this research, but I'm sorry. They are too complicated for me to explain. If you don't believe what I'm saying, why don't you go listen to them yourself? At first I was indignant too, wondering how they dared to blaspheme Oyashiro-sama and spout such nonsense. The Irie clinic was built to study the syndrome. It appears to be just a clinic on the outside, but it's actually a secret research center for studying the syndrome. Secret research? That's ridiculous! If it's actually backed by the Ministry of Health, why aren't they doing it out in the open? Well, I guess they can't. For example, think about leprosy victims who were misunderstood and exiled. They are still misunderstood and discriminated against even today, in fact. If the whole country finds out about this and thinks that everyone in Hinamizawa who has contracted this weird disease can go mad at any moment, it'll turn into chaos. The Ministry of Health has taken that into consideration and is working on developing a cure while keeping the disease a secret. Don't get me wrong though, they aren't trying to put us on display or anything. They're trying to eliminate this disease and free this village from it. It was a different story long ago when we supported ourselves, but nowadays it's impossible not to leave the village. If a simple act of leaving the village can trigger the disease, you realize how dangerous it is for the villagers, right? I'm repeating myself now, but in the recent dam protests, the whole village entered a strong, excited state, which is very bad for the Hinamizawa syndrome.
If some villagers go crazy and do something horrible, it'll be all over in the media.
That's right. If that happens, it'll be too late. But, how can I believe this? Are you sure we're dealing with people from the government? Are you sure you aren't being tricked? I don't blame you for not being able to believe it. They said we could come take a look at their facility anytime. I've seen it before, and I know that no mere fraud could have set up something like that. Even the big hospitals in Gogura don't have such large-scale equipment. If you can't believe what I just told you, you should go to the research center yourself and ask questions. They can explain it better than I can. They said if their explanation isn't good enough, they can explain it to you at the National Research Institute in Tokyo, or even at the Ministry of Health's main office. Whether I believe it or not, how are we related to that? It is said that the Furude family inherited the blood of Oyashiro-sama. And it is also said that if a girl was born for 8 continuous generations, that 8th generation girl would be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama.
Meep.
That's right. I'm the 7th, and Rika is the 8th generation. But what does that have to do with the disease? This Hinamizawa syndrome is caused by a type of parasite. Although they're very tiny. You can't even see them with the naked eye. They say there's a sort of leader among these parasites. Are you saying that's the Furude family? It appears that the leader of these parasites is passed down through the generations only by people with a direct bloodline to the Furude family. In other words, in the previous generation, it was you, and now it's Rika.
Meep.
That's ridiculous! That's absolutely ridiculous! Why would it be something as disgusting as parasites in the first place? Calm down. I'm not good at explaining things. Please have the experts explain it to you. According to them, studying this parasite leader is necessary in order to research the disease. No! I won't have anything to do with such suspicious research, and Rika won't either! I'm telling you to calm down! They think the Hinamizawa syndrome acts out when separated from the parasite leader, not the village itself. When you were little, do you remember villagers telling you that you had psychic powers? You were able to cure elderly people who got migraines after taking a long trip. That's the proof that you were carrying the parasite leader. The Furude bloodline has the power to cure people with the disease. To discover a cure, it's extremely important that we participate in their research.
If they study me, will the villagers be saved?
That's what they say.
And all the villagers are infected? Me? Everyone else? Satoko too?
Yes. Not only the people who live in the village, but their relatives in Okinomiya too. We're talking thousands of people. That's why the Ministry of Health spent so much money to build a specialized research center. I object! How can you let Rika be a sacrifice for something that's suspicious?
I don't mind. If Satoko can be saved, I don't mind being a sacrifice. I really don't.
You be quiet, Rika! I absolutely refuse! I'll go talk to them and refuse them directly. I won't let them kill Rika in some crazy experiment! Besides, Rika is the one and only heir of the Furude family! What if something happens to her? The Furude family will die right there! Don't you see that? You need to think more about our family! That's why the villagers call you an opportunist! After all, don't you think it's odd? The Ministry of Construction is trying to submerge the village, and the Ministry of Health is trying to cure a disease. What in the world is going on? The Ministry of Health has warned that this disease could be triggered by a change in environment. So they're actually trying to have the Ministry of Construction stop the damn construction plan. You really should go to the research center. Why would they build such a huge facility in a location that could be submerged? Rika let out a big yawn. It was long past bedtime for a little girl like her.
I'm going to bed now. Dad, please let them know I'm willing to participate. Okay?
Rika! You can't make such a decision without consulting me! Rika! Wait, Rika! God, Rika's mom is a fucking bitch. Pause for emphasis, bitch. Okay, well, it's still fucking weird that that one was right. But whatever. Let's look through everything and see what that was. So, obviously, help from the Queen Carrier. So, we'll be able to do this one now. I'm just gonna write help from Queen, because I don't need to write the whole fucking thing to understand it. 30-year curse. No. I think there was something... Rika's father being marked as an opportunist. Okay. Maybe. Father as... I'm just gonna write op. And then I think there was another one. Something about him contacting the clinic. Which might be right. Maybe? Yeah, priest contacting Irie. I'm gonna put priest. I'm gonna draw a fucking phone. Good enough. Irie question mark. Alright, now I have to cut the video because I have a dermatologist appointment. Woo! Okay, I am back from the dermatologist. Sadly, I have jambalaya, and I'm going to die next Tuesday. Let's see where we were at. So, I've only done 2 this episode so far, and we're like 50 minutes in nearly. So I'm gonna try to do 2 more to finish off the episode. So we just did requesting assistance from a queen, which gave us like a fuck ton. We should then be able to do this. Number 17, research is going well. If this doesn't fucking work, I'm gonna end my life. Okay. Research is going well. Thank you. Furude-san, thank you for waiting. We just finished the last test. She'll be back soon. Wait. Oh, I was like, Furude-san. Rika's dad, got it. I hope she is able to help. Of course. Rika-san will help the whole village. I think we'll be able to come up with a treatment soon. We're still looking into the structure, but we're finding out how important Rika-san is to the villagers. People with more serious conditions can't stabilize themselves. But we found out that if they get close to the queen carrier, they generate some kind of substance in their brain. This substance has a calming effect, and it seems to have the power to bring their symptoms down. If we can produce this substance, it'll end up making for a powerful treatment. I see. Rika has that kind of power. You shouldn't be surprised. People say that maidens of the Furude Shrine have the psychic power to calm both souls and demons, don't they? Even before we discovered it, it was already recorded in the history of the last few hundred years. That's true. I'm impressed with how wise people were back then.
Meep. The tests are all done.
Rika, good work. You must be getting tired. Why don't you take this and go get something to drink?
Meep. They took a lot of my blood, so I need to replenish.
Rika took the 100 yen coin that was offered to her and ran out into the hallway. I appreciate Rika-san's help. If she hadn't offered her assistance, our research wouldn't have progressed this far. Rika is very concerned about her friend with the syndrome. She said she wants to help because of her. Doctor, please take Rika's feelings into account. Of course. We're taking up her precious time every Sunday, so we'll make sure to get to the bottom of this. We may have to put her through some rather rough experiments, but I hope you'll understand. We'll never harm her in any way, though. Yet, she's such an important person. She's the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, after all. I wonder how people back then found out about this syndrome, and how they knew the Furude family were the descendants of the queen. I'm truly impressed. By the way, there's something I have to ask you. I would like to ask you for permission to collect her cerebrospinal fluid. Oh, this, okay. Also, there's a chance that we'll have to drill a hole in her skull to examine the inside of her head. A hole in her skull? Of course, we'll take every precaution. Rika-san is the one and only queen carrier. We'll make sure that she's safe. Her safety is our priority. Of course, since Rika-chan is a girl, we won't shave her entire head. However, we'll have to ask her to stay at the clinic a little longer so we can keep our eyes on her. She can still receive visitors, of course. You're more than welcome to attend the examination. I'm sure she'll be more relaxed to have someone she knows nearby. Do you really need to perform this examination? Is it really safe? I can't absolutely guarantee her safety for either collecting cerebrospinal fluid or for drilling a hole in her skull. There's always the off chance something might go wrong. Also, Rika-san may suffer from some physical and emotional discomfort. Even if it's this important, we can't perform it without the parents' consent. Actually, I've already talked to Rika-chan about it. What did she say? She said that it's fine. I've explained to her the possibility of danger, but we still need your consent. Sometimes, Rika truly believes that she's the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, so maybe she feels obligated to sacrifice herself for the villagers. What an impressive child. Could you please let me talk to my wife? She understands the situation, but I still need to explain it to her. Sure, of course. Please talk it over with her. So this examination is an extremely important step in the process of stamping out the syndrome, right? Yes. It will solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome for sure. At least it'll be the first step. As I already explained, if something happens to the Queen Carrier, the whole community here may be in danger. In other words, it's possible the whole village could end up with terminal symptoms. That's right. According to the studies, within 48 hours of the death of the Queen Carrier, everyone with the disease will become dangerously sick. We must prevent that from happening no matter what. If something happens to Rika, the whole village will go insane.
Yes, it's our job to prevent that. It might seem ironic that we have to put your daughter in danger, but this is the only way to stamp out the syndrome.
Dr. Irie, I hope you'll exceed. Good job, May. I hope you'll succeed in that examination. As I said, there are no guarantees in medicine.
Sure.
Irie answered with a nod, interrupting Takano's vague response.
I will succeed. I'll save Rika-san, and the villagers too. I promise.
Nope, that's his promise. Awesome. Okay. I'll talk to my wife. I'll let you know our decision.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, but no, wait. It was Tomatake's promise. Did he have a... I don't remember. After Rika and her father left, Takano started to laugh.
What is it? What's so funny?
Oh, nothing. I just thought it was amusing to get permission from both the patient and her parents beforehand.
Rika-chan is going through something she doesn't have to. I thought I should as a courtesy. I would have gotten consent from the man last year had he been in a normal condition.
Are you being tormented with guilt ever since you started your research here?
What do you mean?
This type of teasing was normal from Takano, but maybe she had gone a little too far. Irie made it clear how displeased he was to hear that. You can only research Hinamizawa syndrome by using living beings. You feel guilty continuing your work because of that.
Those guilty feelings are a necessity. Whether it's a murder or dissection, the fact that you're taking someone's life is the same. We have to accept that, and at the same time, devote ourselves to our research.
That's an extremely impressive theory you have there. Then, Dr. Irie, how many times have you gotten consent before you cut into people's brains? Irie didn't think Takano knew about that. How many brains have you cut up without consent, using your selfish theory that people commit crimes due to mental disorders as your excuse?
That is...
Common sense changes with time. Back then, doctors didn't need to explain anything or get consent beforehand. So I don't think you have to be concerned about the past. It would be a problem now, but it was okay back then. So that's fine. But you feel guilty, and that's why you want to get consent from Rika-chan beforehand, and why you wanted to get it from him, right?
That's not true. In the first place, the treatment and dissection are...
Listen, boy. What you want is the stamp of forgiveness known as prior consent, right? What you want is some stamp of forgiveness, some deception to fill your heart so you can atone for your past sins. If you regretted what you've done, then you never get involved with brains again. Yet you're dragging regrets behind as you continue to deal with brains, guilty all the while. If you truly acknowledged your actions as a sin, then you would have refused to accept the appointment as director. Isn't that right, boy?
I don't need to listen to this. Excuse me.
You must listen. The field of medicine is constantly won in battles against that era's ethics and social values. When Dr. Takano discovered the existence of the syndrome, the people in power at the time just disregarded their own ignorance and scoffed at his foresight. But he didn't stop researching until he collapsed. He believed that someday he'd be acknowledged. Even if it was after he died, he still believed in it. He could do that only because of how strong his conviction was. If it wasn't for that, he would have given up. A strong will is what keeps research going. Only the most determined can achieve a result. But you don't have that. You're a coward who still can't decide if he should be proud or ashamed of his achievements. How could you accept the position of director with such half-hearted determination?
You knew from the beginning that this research couldn't be brought to fruition without adding further blood to your already stained hands. I don't know what to say. Maybe I am half-hearted. Then why don't you resign? You'll still have the obligation to keep things secret, but at least you won't have to feel guilty anymore. You may be my partner, but you're also simply a person who was requested by my client. Now that this research institute is fully developed, you aren't needed. If you don't even have the necessary determination to do research to begin with, you're an especially useless partner. I'll never quit researching. I'm not afraid of guilt or regret. My conviction is what will take me to the future. Just like Dr. Takano succeeded, I'll succeed alone. That's impressive. However, though my determination may not come close to yours, I too have a will, and that's why I'm here. As you said, I already have blood on my hands. After I arrived in Hinamizawa, they got even bloodier. So I can't just run from my responsibilities. I'll probably continue to be tormented by my unatoned sins. But I won't run. I'll get to the bottom of Hinamizawa syndrome. That's the least I can do for all the people who gave their lives for this research, and also for those who will give their lives from now on. Irie wore a determined look on his face. He appeared different from even a moment before, when he was baffled by Takano having brought up those painful memories. For a short while, Irie's eyes displayed his strong will, and then he turned around. We'll probably get consent for Rika-chan's examination, so please start preparing for it. Yes, I understand. Director. They got their consent the following week. Alright, well that's easily, cerebrospinal fluid. Is there anything else that one could also be? I don't think there was one that was like Irie's promise. There was Irie's decision, which I guess it could be. So we're gonna do this one next. Anything else about Irie or even Takano? Yeah, prior consent for the collection of cerebrospinal fluid, so we can do that one. Death of Koizumi. No. Bottle of wine for a toast. Most definitely not. We should have this. We should, right? But I don't know. So we'll save that one. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything about Irie. Revenge of Mio Takano. Perhaps. Alright, whatever. Let's just do this. At a query in Yaguchi. Number 18. Let's go. At a query in Yaguchi. There we go. When researching Hinamizawa syndrome, there is something very important that needs to be discussed first. If something happens to the Queen Carrier, the village will collapse. In his article, my grandfather called it the most dangerous situation. According to my grandfather, if the Queen Carrier dies, all the infected persons will go terminal within 48 hours. This may sound unbelievable at first, but research on the collapse of past local religions and group suicides around the world should indicate that there's some truth to it. Among all the mysterious incidents around the world, there are some that were caused by parasites controlling entire communities, very similar to Hinamizawa syndrome. Grandfather picked a few cases that are very similar to the syndrome and investigated them. As a result, he confirmed multiple cases of entire communities losing their minds after the death of a religious leader or founder, and finally annihilating themselves. He stated that, on average, it happened within 48 hours. It's clear that infected people are affected by the Queen Carrier, and the condition of the Queen Carrier is, in fact, affecting the entire village.
Our statistics already prove that on weeks Rika felt sick and visited the clinic, we saw an exceptionally high number of visitors. Is this going to be her fever? Rika being sick with a simple cold had a massive impact. If something particularly bad happened to her, we'd be facing a serious situation within 48 hours. That's why the Irie Institute has to protect Rika Furude, the Queen Carrier. It's the most important mission of the Hinamizawa Syndrome Research Project. She's already agreed to help us in our research, but we have to be very careful not to put her in any danger. Also, we have to protect her from anyone who would try to harm her. Her life is equal to the lives of 2,000 villagers. But what if something happens to her by accident? The Irie Institute must prepare for that situation. Oh, drafting the emergency manual. That's why I worked on the draft of an emergency manual when the Irie Institute was first established. It's a precaution in case the Queen Carrier dies. Oh, okay. Or if infected people show acute symptoms due to the death of the Queen Carrier. Yeah, I forgot a lot from this episode, clearly. This is an emergency procedure which must be followed within 48 hours of the mass occurrence of the acute symptoms. The final measure is to prevent the damage from spreading to nearby areas. The plan uses gas, making it look like a natural disaster. My client, the Alphabet Project, took the responsibility of working out the details of the plan. They are used to dealing with things like nuclear and biological weapons, so they ended up being such a big help. There's no way I could have come up with a plan on my own to execute 2,000 villagers. Through a dummy company, the ground SDF has secured a closed quarry in the Yagauchi area. Yagauchi region. Same word, but whatever. Upstream of Hinamizawa. It's to be the secret storage base for the equipment we'd use in that operation. Equipment that sprays deadly gas that kills people as if they were falling asleep is stored here. In the case of an emergency, a special unit of the ground SDF is to use this equipment to destroy the village. However, preparing for the execution of the villagers itself is politically dangerous. So if I'm going to insist on them getting the equipment ready, I have to make them understand how dangerous Hinamizawa Syndrome is, and also how urgent the need is to have a contingency plan. I have to prove the need for the plan by showing them enough data. So the files my grandfather kept intact come in quite handy. When the clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome, they were surprised to see how catastrophic things could be in the worst case scenario. In other words, if something happens to this girl, the Queen Carrier, all 2,000 of the villagers will become deranged. Is that what you're saying? Yes. There have been several cases similar to Hinamizawa Syndrome where group suicides took place. In the case of the syndrome, we can easily expect extreme defensive behavior, which results from deep paranoia. The result may affect all 2,000 plus carriers. From there on, we may face abnormal situations involving lawless violence and bizarre religious despondence. We must be ready to face such a situation by having a contingency plan. Otherwise, we'll draw attention from the rest of the world. We have to remember that we only have 48 hours to respond once it happens. Are you saying that if it happens, there's nothing anyone can do? Can't you treat everyone within 48 hours? That'll be impossible. We don't even have a cure, and the research center isn't capable of taking in all the villagers. How frightening to realize such a disease actually exists. The world is full of mysteries. Constant vigilance against worst-case scenarios supports our national defense, and is one of the ideas behind the Alphabet Project. Besides, our goal is not to use the plan, but it's vital to be prepared. Indeed. Precisely as you say. I'd still like to look into strengthening the rules of approval authority behind applying the plan, but I understand the necessity to prepare our response for a worst-case scenario. Let's have the Urban Suppression Research Team run a simulation of the Hinamizawa suppression operation in the region. I think we should get it going as soon as possible. It's possible that the Queen Carrier girl may be hit by a car and be killed at any moment. Thank you, Major Takano. We have further questions, so you can sit down. Thanks to a push from one of my backers, things were decided without too much of a problem. It took me almost all day to explain it to them, but it only took a short time to come to a decision. Nobody criticized, ridiculed, or tried to reject my grandfather's articles out of hand. In the files they're all reading today are the very same shameful articles those haughty authorities left their footprints on as they trampled them and my grandfather's heart. But they aren't ridiculing the articles. They are reading what was once rejected. It's nothing big at a glance, but in this moment, my grandfather's research is being recognized for the first time. My heart is filled with satisfaction to see people discussing amongst each other while pointing to my grandfather's files and raising them as proof. I've worked so hard for this day. Grandpa in heaven, can you see this? That one was a little shorter, I feel. So, what was this one again? I had an idea in mind. Oh, draft of the emergency manual. I'm just gonna write emergency draft, which makes it sound like some Vietnam bullshit. But whatever. Let's just make sure if there was anything else. So we can't do that one yet, I'm assuming. We might be able to, but I don't know. No. No. Not yet, but probably soon. No. No. I have no fucking idea when we'll be able to use this one. We don't have the execution order yet, but as soon as we do, we'll be able to. Not yet. Wait, what? Oh, I was like, wait, why is this one called something about a queen? We'll be able to do this one, so we'll probably start with this one next episode. No. Probably soon. I don't see how they wouldn't get to that one yet. We have the draft. I don't think we've had a bottle of wine show up yet, but we might be nearly there. We might be able to do that. Not yet. Probably not anytime soon. I don't think we'll be able to do anything with Rena or Keiichi anytime soon. But this one we'll probably be able to do pretty soon, I imagine. Right? Would that have been revenge? That might have been Takano's revenge. Kind of, right? I'm gonna put Takano's revenge question mark, just in case. Okay, and that's all it would be able to be, so. Yeah, so we did the old guy requesting assistance from a queen, research is going well, and add a query in Yagauchi. Which means we'll start off next episode with a routine inspection, which I think is the only one that I know for sure I can do. But, yeah. Regardless, I don't know exactly how long this episode is, but it's gotta be over an hour, I'm pretty sure. Regardless, though, thank you for watching. That's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button. And if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!